Hey guys, welcome back. Crank's Fab Shop. I'm Crank. This episode, we were supposed to be working on some exhaust. As you can see there, I've started to mess around with some stainless, little X-pipe stuff there. But we ran into a little bit of an issue. And whenever I was installing the engine mounts, I didn't realize it. And I noticed whenever I started to do the exhaust that the exit for the headers are on two different planes, and just they're pretty far apart, which they are cheap headers, so I expected that. But the issue that I found was this. So you can't really tell from here in this angle, but that engine mount right there, well, it's touching something on the block. There's a casting on the block that is sticking out, protruding out, and it is touching that engine mount, which is keeping that engine mount from sitting flush on the adapter plate for to be able to run the LS with the OEM engine mounts on this G30 van. So because of that, I took a little break on the exhaust because I'm going to try to fix this issue, resolve this issue. But before that, I don't know if you can see back there, I pulled the fuel rails out. The fuel rails have been leaking. I believe there's a way to fix it with, you pull the end caps off, pull the plug out of the end, and replace the O-ring on it, and then recrimp the, I don't know, the retainer ring or whatever it's called. So I got those out, but I did find something in my basement that I sort of forgot about. So years ago, I had a 2005 GTO. Whenever I purchased it, it already had head, cams, intake, and stuff on it. Well, I found the old intake, which has the fuel rail and fuel injectors in it still. Now, I'm not going to use the intake or the fuel rail because the fuel rail only works with the car intake, and I'm going to run the truck intake. But it does have a lot better fuel injectors in it than what I've got. So basically, with the truck intake, it sits up higher. You know, the LS2 intake sits quite a bit lower. Well, I just replaced the water pump with the truck water pump, and I have all the front drive accessories for the truck. I would have to replace all that if I wanted to run the LS2 intake, which I've got sitting right here. Now, I would have to buy a throttle body for it. I'd have to get a throttle body for drive-by cable, since that's what the van's set up for. And as you can see, the fuel rail won't work because it won't go over top of the truck intake, where the LS2 intake is quite a bit shorter. But there's what we're after. Those puppies right there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these are almost double the size of what's in the stock truck intake. I believe the 05 GTO comes with like 42-pound injectors. The truck is, I think, 20-something pound injectors. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Drop a comment. Tell me I'm an idiot. That's very well possible. But they are bigger.
That's what she said.
So we have our fuel injectors out of both of the fuel rails, the LS2 and the LQ4. As you can see here, they are a little different in length. Shouldn't be a big deal. We can space the fuel rail up a little bit if we need to. All right. So we have the fuel rails here. As you can see, this one's been leaking a little bit. So I think I can just get these end caps off, pull that plug out of the center. There's an O-ring on there. Throw a couple new O-rings on them, and yeah, we'll see what it does. All right, so I got it out, and as you can see, I went ahead and pulled the O-ring off, but as you can see, maybe, yeah, it was pretty nasty. So yeah, that would definitely not seal up very well, huh? All right, so let's get this thing cleaned up. All right, so we've got the cap off here. I'll show you sort of how I did this. So, you got the cap on. It's pressed on there. As you can see, it just sort of sits on there over that lip. And I just took a screwdriver and lightly, I sort of pried all the way around to that, undid the crimp for this little cap. And it is soft, it's aluminum, so you don't have to put a lot into it. And then you have your plug in here. Now the first one that I took out, I did have some trouble with it because it was the one I showed you that was pretty corroded and pretty nasty. So I actually had to get through the other side and push it out from the opposite side of that fuel rail. But the other ones that are not all corroded and leaking really bad, I just used a 1/4 inch extension, and that fits into that hole. Fits in there pretty well, as you can see. And I just sort of wiggled it around, and it sort of wiggled its way out. Let me see if I can sit this camera down to show you.
Daddy, chill.
It's coming. Well, there it goes. So, put a little weight behind it and it came right out. And as you can see, that one's not nearly as bad a shape as the first one I pulled out. But it was still leaking a little bit, I think. So we just pulled all 4 of them out. Gonna clean them up, replace the O-rings. So if we won't run into this issue again. And there, as you can see, there's some corrosion there in that groove where that O-ring sits. So, yeah, we definitely don't want that. Definitely cause some issues. Hopefully we can get this cleaned up, and that'll solve our issues. So I guess we'll see. All right, so back on these fuel injectors. Like I said, I pulled these out of the truck intake. I've got these out of an LS2 intake that I had lying around. And as you can see, the electrical pins are different, the connectors there. Which is fine because these are the adapters that came with the wiring harness that I was using for the LQ4 truck injectors. But yeah, it came with a few different adapters. I'm not sure if I said that whenever I was talking about the wiring harness that I picked up, but yeah, so there we go. So we can definitely make these work. And again, we'll just have to space fuel rails up a little bit, and it doesn't look like it's going to be very much that we're going to have to space it, but yeah, a little bit, but not too much. So yeah, that shouldn't be an issue at all. So we'll try to get those cleaned up and be a good upgrade for us. All right, there you go, guys. We got this fuel rail back together once again. Does it look good? Not really. Will it work? I guess you'll have to tune in later to find out, because I need to get these fuel injectors cleaned up. And I just wanted to do this quick video, a little bit of an update on Herbert. Hadn't really done anything in a little bit. So here you go. I am going to try to get the engine lifted up, get that engine mount out, get it cut up. But if you stayed this long, I'm going to give you a little teaser. I did start Herbert. I put a few exhaust pieces on, just to get an idea of how I'm wanting to do some things. And I did start it up. And here's that video. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Come on.
Well, bye.